Hello, hello. May peace and blessings be with you, everyone. I am so excited that I get to be here and share this space with Marcella Crank from Crank It Up Coaching. Marcella, you are such an inspiration for me. I love you so super much. I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to read something I put together for you as your official introduction. So I'm going to read that because I don't want to mess that up. Marcella Crank is a transformational coach and the founder of Crank It Up Coaching, where she helps women break free from the pressure of constantly proving themselves and reconnect with a life that actually feels aligned, peaceful, and fulfilling. Through her work, Marcella supports high achieving women who look successful on the outside but feel disconnected on the inside. She guides them to slow down, reset, and step into a version of themselves that no longer seeks validation, but lives with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Her approach is honest, compassionate, and deeply empowering, creating space for real change, not just surface level success. Marcella, it's been my pleasure to be in your a couple of your workshops. I took away a lot. I'm so grateful that you do this work, my friend. Welcome and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Timmy. That was wonderful. My introduction. I appreciate that. So, tell you a little bit about myself. I'm originally from New York City. That's where I grew up, and it's so funny. I was offered an ROTC job, and I was like, "There is no way I'm going into the military." And a few years later, my mom passed, and my uncle said, "You should go into the military." And I was like, maybe. So, but I was only going to go for 4 years. And I ended up going for over 23 years in the Air Force. And yeah, and then, I worked for the government. I got a couple of degrees. And then I want to tell you this story about how I started coaching. So I was thinking about coaching because all of my life I attract people um, that want advice because I'm a good listener, and I really felt called to do that. But I talked to a friend and she said, "Oh, that's not a good career move because when the economy is low, people are not going to do that." So I said, "Oh, you're right." And I did something else. I got a couple of degrees. And then another friend of mine, years later, and I still call him friend, but we don't talk all the time. So he asked me to coach his son. And I had to say, "Oh, I went in a different direction. I'm not a coach." But that birthed something in me. It was like, that's my path. So I started studying, and it was like, this is for me. So I talked to my husband and I said, my contract was over in, I think it was 9 months. It was 9 months. And I said, "Look, I want to do this." And he agreed. And so I'm working for the DOD. When I got back to work, this was around Christmas time that I said, "This is my path." And when I got back, my organization had been disassembled by Congress. And so instead of me having 9 months, I had 3 months. It was disassembled in January, but I stayed with them until March to close up everything. And I have not looked back since. And so I am so grateful that this is my path. And I just truly believe that this is my calling. It's to
Yeah.
help women. Yes.
Yeah, Marcella, that's so inspiring. First, thank you for your service in the Air Force. I did not know you served for 23 years. That's a long time.
That's, oh, let me tell you this, because every 4 years I was like, I'm getting out. Like when I joined, I'm getting out in 4 years. I'm getting out at 8 years. And then after I signed up for 8, I was like, well, that's 12 years. You might as well stay in.
Yeah, but it's so interesting that, initially when you decided to do this work, you were held back a little bit, but then, a sign appeared where you're like, no, I'm meant to be on this path. So God
Yeah.
has mysterious ways of putting those breadcrumbs in our path and also, helping us navigate even the detours that we take in our lifetime.
Yeah. And, even with that, Timmy, because I believe, that your footsteps are ordained, and that my other degrees, because I got a master's in project management, helps me, and an MBA. So that helps me along with my business. So it wasn't a waste of time. I don't believe anything is a waste of time.
Absolutely. I feel like, we get to bring together all the skills and all the talents and all the wisdom that we learn, and we bring it forward in every single role that we have, and we get to honor and play. Marcella, the title of our conversation today is Stop Proving and Start Living. What was a moment in your life when you realized you were doing a lot of proving but not truly living?
Oh my goodness. So I think most of my life, I was doing a lot of proving, a lot of proving. And I was super stressed. And it's so interesting when I say stress, because I had no idea that I was so stressed out when I was working for the government. And it took me almost 6 months to recover, really, literally, about 6 months. And so, we don't know how much stress we're carrying. And when you release that stress, it's like taking a deep breath, exhaling, and like I love, and you start living based upon who you are, and not trying to prove your worth, because a lot of people do and are very busy because they feel like their worth is connected to their productivity, or their value is connected to their productivity.
Yeah. And I feel like it's across the board. At one point I thought women are more like that, but I even see same thing with men too, that we derive humans overall derive their value from the work they do, what they put forward for other people, and not recognizing and realizing that they are whole and valuable and a blessing just by being. So
Yes.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you, because I coach. I My focus is on women, but I do coach men too, and I find the same thing, that they, if they're not productive, they don't feel worthy
Hmm.
or valuable.
Hmm. Marcella, is there like a pattern or a theme that you see over and over in the women that you work with?
Yes, I do. I do. I see that women tend to be overproducers, and they feel like it is their responsibility to hold everybody together. And they could be, hurting, exhausted. I had this friend, and this is when her children were younger, but she did so much stuff that she said, all I could do is fall into bed and go to sleep. And there's so many women just like that, where they don't have any energy for themselves. They don't have any, uh, they don't even know who they are, because they continue to work and for the next thing. What's the next thing? Or work at proving themselves that they're capable.
Hmm. Why do you think we wear that as a badge of honor over exhausting ourselves?
We do wear it as a badge of honor, right? We do. I I believe that women wear it as a badge of honor because it shows that we're capable,
Hmm.
that we can do it. And, a long time ago, there was this commercial um, that, it said something like, I can bring home the bacon and fry it up in a pan and let you know that you're a real man or something like that. Yeah. And so I think that innately, that is what we believe that our responsibility is
Mhm,
to carry everybody
mhm. It's so
through it.
interesting because we're like women are generally like communal, they're nurturers, but they also are competitive, right? Like it's like, they have something to prove.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So interesting. Marcella, for someone watching this right now who feels like they're doing everything right, but they still feel off, what do you think is really going on beneath the surface for them?
Their body is telling them that this is not the way, that you have to rest. Because a lot of us believe that you have to earn rest, that it's not, or that it's a privilege. If you don't have everything done, then your job is not finished. And so their body is talking to them, saying that that is not the way.
Mhm. Remember back in December when I was doing the goal setting workshop, I talked about just while we were figuring out how next year is going to go, I just something that came during that session for me was having me days, right? So that was not something I was scheduling previously. And when I looked at that, I was like, it's a little bit of like a foreign concept, right? Having a me day. But I was like, I'm just going to schedule it. I'm just going to put it on, right? And I added it to the calendar. January, I was all gung ho. I was like, okay, I'm going to do my me day. Went well. I kind of well, not super well, because that day when I was excited about it a few days leading up to it, but that day it was raining and I just wanted to stay in bed and not, go do something for myself. And I give a lot of credit to my husband. He said, no, no, you have to go because you already said this is your me day. So you have to go, do something for yourself. So with a little bit of a nudge, I think that did work for me. Then next month, I think I halfway through the day, I remember halfway through the day that it was my me day. I I was like cracking up. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I missed my me day." So I did like half a day as my me day. I'm like, "Okay, it still counts." But this month I did it and it was amazing. It was like so good. So I am doing something special for myself on my me days, and something special for myself is really being out in nature, doing
Uh,
something where, I don't have to explain to anybody, where I'm going to be, what I'm doing and all of that.
uh,
And I feel like little by little, it's actually bringing me back to myself and it feels so good. And
right.
I'm like, just a subtle little shift of that. It's not even like the whole day I'm gone, it's just like a few hours that I'm taking just for myself. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I feel it's truly life changing. So,
Yeah. I want to say, because you mentioned that you were lying in the bed, and so for some people, that is a me day because they don't get a chance to, just chill out in the bed all day or half the day or whatever. So you have to focus on what is going to energize you,
mhm,
what is going to fill your cup. And for you, lying in the bed was not it.
it
It
was not.
was being out in nature.
Yeah. Lying in bed is if I'm not well. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to read this comment from Simone from Bereavement and Beyond. She's saying, I've never looked at us being this way because we're competitive. I more looked at it from the standpoint of just showing I can do it too, not to prove that I'm better than or to win. Interesting.
Yeah. Um, I I do think that we're competitive and it's about winning,
Hmm.
and I am pretty competitive and playing games, I am determined to win. And just a real short, this is kind of like off topic, but my best friend, we used to play Boggle and she used to always win all the time. And so I started practicing. And it's so funny. I took her to New York for her birthday and I tore her up. and on her birthday. And she'll remind me of that every now and then because I do. I think that we're competitive. I think we're competitive at work and not everybody. So for Simone, that's not her. But for the most part, I think that women are competitive.
Yeah, Simone, it's so interesting that you say that because you're in it to win it. Like I don't see you, settling down or backing down on, what you're pursuing. So, yeah. So we see your competitiveness even though internally you're not feeling that's competitiveness. So I think it has actually taken me some time to also realize that because I think um, back in the day, I think I used to just say competition is bad, right? That's just like what we feel. But by working with Martha, I think there was a conversation we were having one time, and we went pretty deep into that. Martha Arnett, who's my soul coach, and we discovered she actually um, shed some light on it. She's like, you have made a story that competition is bad, but think about like all the ways that competition is helpful, right? And it actually really is helping you sharpen your skills, and you know so it was like really a good powerful conversation, realizing that. So now that I have, interestingly, I'm saying this out loud and recognizing that. Okay, I am gonna shift gears here. Marcella, what has shifted for you internally since you started doing this deeper work, and how is that showing up in your life and business today?
Oh, it has completely changed my life. Um, I am definitely more grounded than I have ever been in my life. I am aware, self aware, and notice what's going on with me. And if I don't know, I'm self aware. So if something comes up and I'm like, what is that? What's that? And so I'm willing to explore and and do some introspection and try to figure it out. Try to figure it out. It's so interesting that just recently, I one of my beliefs is that you can't change anybody, but you have to make it okay for you. If you're going to still be in relationship, you have to figure it out and make it okay for you. So in this particular relationship, I thought I did do that. And something came up that was a trigger. And I was just outdone, and I had to sit with that and figure out what was going on with me because my thing these days are um, dealing with expectations. So once I see who you are and I want a relationship with you, I don't put my expectations on you um, because you are who you are, right? But this conversation we had that triggered me, all of those expectations came out, and so at one time I I'll say I am a recovering um what's the word? Um Conflict avoider. I do not like conflict. So at one time I would just like absorb it and just keep moving, but now I want to figure out why. Why did I respond like that?
Mhm.
What's the backstory?
Mhm. Yeah, that's so powerful. I'm so glad that you said that. That we can't control other people, we can't fix other people, we can't change other people. We can inspire, right? You can
Right.
empower, we can hold space, we can, give them the tools and the resources and all of that. But it's up to them to have that transformation for themselves. But I'm so glad that you said that we still have to make it okay for us, right? So checking in internally, what is it that we need in those moments, right? So what was it that was making you hide in those conflict situations? And even now, if it happens, what's the default, what's the backstory, and why is
Right.
that story there, and what healing needs to happen, so we tell ourselves a different story.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you're saying that. It's so funny. So Simone said, I'm definitely not competitive. And check out this next comment. She says, I won't back down for sure.
Now, if that doesn't sound competitive, I'm not backing down. But you know what? I hear you. I hear you, Simone. Because for me, after I commented on what you said, I thought about it and I'm like, well, I'm not 100% competitive. It all depends on what it is. Um, and it's so interesting. I have to be transparent. So there's somebody in our group that I am, and I think she is very competitive with how many uh, texts we do in a group. It's like back and forth, back and forth. And so like that and games and stuff, I'm competitive. But when it comes to different things, I may not be competitive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it all depends on the circumstances.
Yeah, definitely. I so see that also situational, right? Like there are places where we do want to hold our ground and we are competitive and can be competitive. And then there are things and times when it's wiser to be
Right.
collaborative and
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
healthy competition, like Simone puts it. Love it. Okay. Marcella, as you've been building your coaching business, what has it been like to have support, not just emotionally, but also with the tech and the implementation side through our One Tech Premium Plus program and your awesome, awesome VA?
So, Timmy, I have to tell you, I love the way you frame that because I'm going to tell you, I was kind of hesitant about this question because every time I think about my relationship with One Tech, I get teary eyed because, so if I do get teary eyed, be patient, I'll get there. But so, story time. I, last year, I really had a vision that this year was going to be my year. But I had a lot of obstacles. And one of those obstacles was the tech part, you know? And I have to say this to me that I believe God put us together. And I was sick and I just jumped on a call with you because we connected through somebody else, another person's system. And so I had done some things with you and I jumped on and you talked about this, the One Tech program. And I thought the price was unbelievably low, for us to gather Monday through Friday for 2 hours, for me to be able to ask you or somebody on your team how to. It was just phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. And um, and then I got a VA from you, and so that's like the cherry on the top. And so for me, it's like I have no excuse, no excuse at all. I have everything I need to be successful. And so I always tell you I appreciate you so much because I am positive that I would not be where I am today if it weren't for you. And so,
Marcella, I love you so much. I feel like every time I think about you and I talk about you, I get teary eyed too. In in such a fulfilling way, because one day we were having a conversation where you shared that how after starting with the program, you started to feel that there's no excuse, right? Like you're gonna be
yeah,
successful. And I heard you and I realize in that moment that every life you get to touch with your work, I am touching that life too in the background, right?
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
like, how
Yes.
powerful is that? I'm like, that is
Yeah.
the realization of this idea that, I have been pursuing for many years, saying, that's what I want. That's what
Yeah.
I've been wishing for. That's what I've been praying for. And
Yeah.
there you were telling me that, Timmy, I'm going to help people like that. And I then got to be in one of those programs with you, and I could see the impact that you're making, you're creating. And I'm like, how can I not be grateful? How can I not feel fulfilled by this? So I
Yeah.
truly feel that God placed us in each other's path for a reason at the right
Yes.
time, for sure. I have no doubt.
And I just have to say this, and I hope you don't get upset with me. I thought I was doing good. I thought I was doing good. I'm like, yeah, you're talking and not crying. But I have to say this because there's so many people that need to hear this. I truly believe that God put us together. And the fact that I'm a Christian, I'm a minister in my church, and you're a Muslim, is just mind blowing to me. And I know He put us together.
Yep.
And it's so awesome. And I love you so much.
Marcella, I just want to thank you for the love, the wisdom, the heart, the presence that you bring with you to my community, right? Like every single time you're speaking, everybody's quiet and listening and paying attention. And then members of my community are asking you for advice, right? Like asking you for your wisdom when we are going through different different real life scenarios, I feel like, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's just like every single thing that you share is comes from such a beautiful, grounded, healed, rested place. I'm just like, it's just so unbelievable. I love that how your business is built on the three pillars where you're asking women to reflect, reset, and rise, right? And I'm like,
Yes.
those are some elements that we're in the go 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 so much that we miss. We miss the reflection step, we miss the reset step. We want to rise, so we kind of like try to do it backwards. And you're like, in every single conversation, you're coming in and you're like, you know what about these things, and it's just so beautiful. So thank you for bringing your presence and your whole self to
Well,
every interaction.
thank you. And to me, I need to thank you because not everyone who has a program like you do would allow people to share because they feel like they need to be in charge. This is my thing. And so, they may feel like you're stepping on their toes. But in this program, we are like family, and you have given us free reign to give input, to help, to support. And we're a community, we're a family, and I believe that we all love each other, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, even the conversations and the relationships that community members have formed with each other, it's just so beautiful.
Right.
Where,
Yeah.
where do you find that?
Yes. Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That, I think as a whole group, we're together as a community and we support one another. And then I think there are some people who really bonded with like one or two people and they have their own little thing. I know that um, I have bonded with a couple of people, but really it's amazing to me. Like Simone and I are so close, and really, she is an answer to prayer because I, in my relationships, I desire friends that are transparent,
Mhm.
and I don't have a whole lot of friends that are transparent. And so, what October? I don't know if we met in October or November, but in that short period of time, we are so close. We talk every day, or text every day, and it's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. I personally feel that entrepreneurship becomes a pretty lonely journey, right? Like the more you walk on it, the lonelier it gets because people around you, especially family members, don't really understand, what
Right.
you're what you're going through and, your
Yeah.
passion and, the long
Right.
hours and the deep thinkings and all of that.
Right.
Surrounding yourself with community that understands you, I think is
Yeah.
a big success factor, a big success factor.
I definitely agree. And I know that in one of our conversations, I know that your husband has gotten better over time. But that's kind of like what I deal with my husband. He's not an entrepreneur and he just doesn't understand. So it is a blessing to be able to talk to people that understand.
Yeah. Simone said she's loving this conversation. She also said previously, I won't back down. I'm going to do me without looking at the other person. I want to prove to myself that I belong in the room. But you're right that it's situational. Yeah. So Simone, that is so powerful. Thank you
Uh,
for saying that, proving to ourselves that I
yeah.
belong in the room.
And you do. You do.
You do. Absolutely. There you go. Simone is
Oh, you're trying to make me cry on this thing here. I've been doing pretty good. So stop it.
oh my goodness. We're awesome.
Yeah.
Um So, Marcella, I want to ask you. I'm looking at my questions. I go through and I prepare my questions. So if I'm not looking at you, it's because I'm looking at my
Yes.
what else I want to talk to you about. So, Marcella, what would you say to someone who feels stuck because tech or overwhelm is slowing them down?
That your program is the way to go. I mean, like, because I mentioned this already. So, One Tech just provides all the technology that you need. We have you, and you have, on Mondays, do it for you. We can always ask you questions. You have a team. We can always ask them questions. And even if it's not within the 2 hours, we have your help desk, so it's a game changer. It is a game changer. Short and simple, and you make it so easy. And so I think, let me share this. It just came to me and I think I shared this with you when I first joined. So, Go High Level, you were the third agency that I went to. The first agency, I didn't really get any kind of help at all. Um, so I moved to this other one that people had recommended in the group we were in. And I went to that team, and I went to a meeting, and he was like, y'all want to do it? Y'all want me to do it for you? No, you're going to have to learn. And so I was in this group, but I was going to you for answers, and I'm like, now, does that make sense? That you're in this group, you're paying him, but you're going to Timmy's group and asking Timmy how to. So it's an amazing opportunity. It's an amazing opportunity. And that's all I don't think I really believe that if you decide to invest, that you will be so happy you did. Because I have invested in different programs, and there is nothing at all like this program. And it's really, I'm saying invest because it's slightly expensive, but those other programs, it's your what you're charging right now anyway, it's going to go up, but what you're charging right now is a smidget compared to what I paid in these other programs.
I'm honored. Marcella, I'm getting goosebumps as you're saying that. And those of you who are watching, this is like the Timmy fan club. If you this is becoming that. I'm so honored. Thank you so much for sharing that.
But it's
Marcella,
the
so
truth. It's the truth. It is the truth that there if if tech is holding you back, sign up today. Sign up today because that will no longer hold you back. And you will have no excuse. Now, if you're looking for excuses, then don't sign up.
So as you say that, I'm going to just share the link. I will not be shy about that. So onetechcoach.com. If you are interested in joining the Premium Plus program that Marcella is in, where we meet 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, for 2 hours each day, we mastermind, we learn tech, we strategize. You get the implementation space with the breakout rooms with specific experts from my team to build funnels, to build your automations, to build your social media content, whatever you need help with, we are there to help you and support you to make sure it gets done. Marcella, do you want to share how many different assets or programs you've built since you've been in the program? Because I think that will paint a picture for people. That will actually help them kind of,
Um,
realize and understand what's possible.
yeah, yeah, a lot, a lot. Um, wow. Well, you know what? I am going to, because I have one tech open, so I'm gonna go and just go to my funnels. Like, I have never done funnels before, right? Never. And I have let's back up. So I have 9 funnels, and uh, 9 different products. I built my website, and so much more, because it's just not funnels. I've done the email lists. I have scheduled my social media, um, Facebook and Instagram, and I just started with. I had a LinkedIn account, but I wasn't using it, so I just started the LinkedIn account. I've started a blog. I It's just amazing. It's amazing. And I'm telling you, like, so I did build a website before, but aside from that, one tech. And it's so simple. Like you were talking about, the second hour, you have your team, you can ask questions and they'll walk you through it. And for me, I'm like, I'm getting this done. So they'll walk me through it. And if we still have something extra, I'll call the help desk and say, look, I'm having issues with this funnel with the mobile part, and they will go and fix it up for me or show me how to do it. It all depends on how difficult it is, whether they just do it for me or not. But Timmy, it's like, this is your program is a no-brainer, no-brainer. Um, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that, and and I think I shared this with you. When I think about it, about we met in a different program, and I didn't get a whole lot out of that program. But when I think about it, I said, but I got Timmy. I got Timmy. So that is worth everything, everything, and then some.
Yeah, we don't know which detours we have to go through to get to where we're meant to be and supposed to be, right? So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Marcella, that's fantastic. Yeah.
I
That,
am just so grateful.
yeah, you have 9 different assets. You have your website, you have your blog, you also have YouTube where you are now having guests on your YouTube.
That's right. I didn't even mention that I just had a discussion, and I the people in the group were on the panel. So yeah,
You
it's
even
just
have a resource for everybody watching today, right? Because you are going to help them
yes.
doing a 5-minute reset. This is do you want to tell us a little bit about it? What?
Yes, I do. I do. It's so I created this for those times when, because most of us are super busy, and I'm trying to slow us down. So this is 5 minute reset, and what you'll get is an audio that with my voice sharing, guiding you, and then it's also a PDF that after you've gone through the guidance, that you write something down so that you can carry it with you. And
Awesome.
so that's what this 5 minute reset is about. And I know people who've gotten it and they were like, wow, this really works. So yes, feel free to download this free resource.
Awesome. Marcella, thank you so much for sharing this. You're very generous. And the two workshops I have attended with you, one was about goal setting. I have
Hmm.
never seen anybody do goal setting the way you did. I am so grateful because what came up for me, I never was in connected to that in myself. So I'm very grateful for that. And the other workshop I attended was a self-love experience, which
Yes, self
truly
love
was,
reset
yeah,
experience.
it was
Uh-huh.
truly an experience, and I would highly, highly recommend that both of those to anybody who is watching you today, and they can grab that. They can sign up for that on your website directly. Crank It Up
Yeah.
Coaching Up. You're going to be hosting that occasionally going forward, right?
Right. So the self love reset experience, the next one is, I believe it's the 16th. It's the third Thursday.
Okay.
And then I am doing another goal setting the last Thursday of the month, which I believe is the 26th. I'm sorry, I don't have the dates, but it's the last Thursday and the third Thursday. The third Thursday is for the reset experience, and the last Thursday is for the goal setting, a
Awesome.
check in.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm sharing your website because both of those
Yes,
are listed on the website, right?
right, yes.
So I think that would be the best way to share that. Okay, my friend, we have tradition that we have this tradition that we do rapid fire round of questions. Are you ready? Can I ask
I
some?
am ready.
Okay, Marcella, what is your favorite vacation?
My favorite vacation is Dominican Republic. I'm laughing because we had such a great time. But last April for our anniversary, we went to Hawaii, and you would think that would be my favorite, most favorite, but it wasn't.
Well, I have not been to either of those two places you mentioned, but I will definitely have that on my roadmap to check it out one day. Um, check out what Simone said. She said she can attest to the greatness of your programs because Simone was there too. That's awesome.
Yeah, yes. And can I just say that Simone came to the reset experience 2 months in a row, and she said she got something out of it both times because we're constantly, growing and evolving, and so it was something totally new the second time.
Mhm. That's so interesting. I feel like it's very much like going through experiences multiple times, like reading a book a second time. We get more depth. Watching a movie a second time, you like pick up on things that you missed the first time around. Yeah, so that's awesome. That's making my
So
heart
I'm
happy.
sorry I interrupted your rapid fire.
It's all right. We go on tangents all the time. No, no worries at all. Okay, share a fun childhood memory with us, friend.
Oh, a fun memory. My mom liked to travel too, so we went to Disney World. That was really a lot of fun. So even though I have a brother, my brother is 14 years older than me. So we were raised that both of us as only children.
Yep, I completely understand that. Marcella, how old were you when you went to Disney the first time, if you've gone multiple times?
I must have been about 7.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fun age to go to Disney with
Yeah.
them. So, okay, advice for your younger self.
Advice, don't sweat it. Don't sweat the small stuff, and just, and also ask for help and accept help.
Mhm. Marcella, do share something. What is the type of stuff we're talking about that you used to sweat and you don't anymore?
Oh, So for one thing, it is how what people think of me.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Yes. What people think of me. And now, and I'm not perfect. So sometimes I regress, but for the most part, I'm like, that's their business. Not everybody's going to like you.
Mhm.
So, and it's so interesting because my younger years, my personality has changed a lot. So, but in my younger years, either people absolutely loved me or they hated me. There was no in between, like, oh, she's okay. They were like, no, or oh, she's so sweet. So, so yeah, don't sweat the small stuff. Whoever loves you, and whoever doesn't, there's somebody that they'll love.
Yep. And I think like us loving ourselves, right? Like I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's the most important aspect in that. Yeah.
yeah. And now that you said that, right, I also I just have done some retro, reflection, and I am so much more confident in who I am. So it's really learning who I am. And so if you know who you are, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And for me, growing up, there was a lot of negativity, and I absorbed all of that. So I had to shed all of that and discover who I am.
Mhm. Yeah. A lot of unlearning. Okay. Simone is saying you don't regress. You are being
Human,
human.
human. Yes, ma'am.
Marcella, what has been a life changing book for you?
The Bible is number one. And, because I saw, a couple of these interviews. So, and I noticed, I didn't notice a lot of the questions, but I noticed that was one question that you asked people. And I I'm an avid reader. So I can't really point out books, but what I decided, I said, you know what? Maybe it's this book. It's called Change is Power. It's a very old book, and I have like paper clips, highlights, and everything else in it. And it's by John Ross. I don't know if you can you probably have to get the book, but this book, it has very short chapters in it, and it's so if I have a couple of minutes, I could read a little chapter, and it really motivates me. Like one of the chapters is organizing and uncluttering our minds, and it's like 3 pages.
Love it. I feel like chapter books or short chapters is like my kind of reading also. I wrote it down. I'm going to check it out for sure. Marcella, who has been an influential role model for you?
you,
Oh my goodness.
you, yeah, Timmy, you just don't know. You just don't know. I So, my history is that my father died when I was 6, my mother died when I was 20. And I have never really had a mentor, a human mentor. And I say that, and it's so interesting because a couple of times in my life, I was like, yeah, I think that they could be my mentor. They're my mentor, but you're my mentor for sure. And I want to tell everybody this. That the other day I was thinking about you and just how you interact with us in the group. And I said, you know what? Timmy is the mother hen. And you know how mother hens are. They are very protective. They want you to succeed. And that is you. And you're my mentor. And even like when you join my groups, that's how I introduce you as my mentor. And yeah. So you're the one, honey. You're the one. And I'm so grateful.
My goodness. I am the grateful one, Marcella. Thank you so much. You are just such a beautiful blessing in my life. Every time you say these nice things about me, I feel the same exact way about you. Like it is just, such a beautiful mutual blessing for, I think, for both of us. And I consider you my mentor, my coach as well. I Even though when I joined your goal setting workshop, I'm like, I've been teaching goal setting for a while, right? But I wanted to come because the way you did it, Marcella, it's never been done before for me. So I'm just so grateful. And I just love that, we have this beautiful, mutually loving and respectful relationship for each other. And when you
Yeah,
said yes to coming to this, that just like made me so happy. I'm like, we're gonna have such a blast, diving deeper into a one-on-one conversation that we get to share with others, right? We get to
yeah.
bring them into this conversation with us. Okay, Marcella, anything you want to leave us with? I'm also going to share your social media handle on Instagram if anybody wants to connect with you on Instagram. Um, any words of wisdom you want our sisters, women who are.
I really think I've laid it all out on the table. Um, I just want to really emphasize that if you join One Tech, it's really, it's really, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Everything, because we do the mastermind. So that's the head stuff, before we get into the tech stuff. So there's a lot of mind shifts, a lot of real talk, transparency in our group, and then you get to the tech. So even if you're listening and you're like, well, you know, I'm pretty tech savvy, you will still get so much out of it. And then, and even if you are tech savvy, because there's so much help, you'll get stuff done a lot quicker. And then, of course, there's the VA thing that is this a wonderful program.
Yeah, Marcella, people listening are going to be thinking, what are you selling, Timmy? Yeah.
It's like a all in one program, all in one program.
Yeah, all in one program that has gotten together or been put together after a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, right? Because I also myself went through many, many different programs with different coaches, which I've learned a lot from. But I, at the end of the day, felt one day I had a really bad cry in the car with my husband one time. We had driven somewhere where the idea was that we were going to go to a park to just walk and, just let all this like energy leave me. But I ended up just sitting in the car and just crying my heart out. And as I was sharing with him, I said, I've invested thousands of dollars with so many different coaches. I've gone through so many different programs and I've learned a lot. But not one coach, not one time, have sat down with me and said, Timmy, what is it that you want to build? And let's build it together. Not one person, right?
Yeah.
And after I had really bad cry about it and all that, I wiped my tears and I sat there and I was like, oh my God, I am to create that program, right? Like literally, it's like you can't read the label from inside the bottle, right? So that was like my moment of clarity. And then I was like, I'm going to be that person where no matter what it is, because on the surface it looks like it's the tech that's holding us back, right? I feel like tech is only a small portion of it, because
Mhm.
once you figure the tech out, like, building that and all of that is like easy, right? That's like the simple part.
Yeah.
But even after we build the funnels, we do the automations and all of that, if we don't have the internal alignment with the program, with whatever we're offering, right? Guess what? That thing doesn't sell. The thing doesn't connect. The thing doesn't convert. We don't invite people in. We don't share it with people. So it's just so interesting to me that how integrated those two pieces are, the mindset slash strategy and the tech, that, we got to get all of that right. And it doesn't happen overnight, right? It happens over time. So that's why, having space available for it Monday through Friday and doing that together, I just find it to be very beneficial for everybody all the way around.
And I wanted to add, you see, I'm your biggest supporter. Well, I'm claiming myself as your biggest supporter. That with Go High Level One Tech, you get so many programs bundled into one. Like for instance, I ended up getting a second website, and it was what, 12.99. 12.99. That's it. That's it, and that's all. Um, and your email marketing and the funnel, all the things that you would buy separately and
Yeah.
have to piece it together. It's all in one tag.
Yeah. The 12.99 is just a domain purchase for the whole year, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. But like the hosting and stuff would normally be extra. So that's what I'm talking about. So that's included.
Yep. Yep. Like it's just one of the most beautiful things that we have come across. Okay, Marcella, I'm sharing your website one more time. Friends, please grab that. Check out Marcella's two programs, her goal setting workshop and the self love reset experience. And please, please, please do yourself a favor and grab this link because you want to absolutely do the 5-minute reset. Whenever you are feeling like you're disconnected or feeling wobbly, this resource will help you. Marcella, I just want to thank you so much for making time for us, for putting together this resource for us, and I wish you all the best. And you are a beautiful, beautiful blessing for me, friend, and so
Thank
many
you.
others too.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed this. It was fun.
Yes. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.